now, right 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 now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the massive rally that we witnessed overnight. Now, I want to start out by just putting something out there. I actually kind of doubted Bitcoin here. I kind of doubted Bitcoin in yesterday's stream as to whether or not it could do this, because as we've looked over the last 3 months of price action on Bitcoin, we have not seen a lot of bullishness following a capitulation post-CPI data drop. What do I mean? Well, when the CPI data comes in, people typically get very excited about it for the days leading up to it and then the days following it. We saw a 0.4% drop. That's about middle of the road from the 0.1 and 0.6 we've seen in the last 2 months, respectively, in February and in January. And a lot of times, you'll see a big rally moving up into and just a couple of days past the CPI drop. And then you will see the market trade sideways, and then it'll start going up bearish about halfway through that CPI cycle the next week or two. Bitcoin actually has done the opposite, and that's a really, really good signal, because technical analysis was predicting that, look, based on the fact that Bitcoin has struggled here, we might not have enough bullish sentiment to really push us to new local highs. But that has happened. I woke up this morning, I read an article, and the article, I didn't actually read the article, I just saw the headline. It said, Bitcoin has passed $27,000 for the first time since June of 2022. And I thought, wow, that's exciting. That is so, so cool, because I was sitting here thinking, at this rate, we might just have to wait for the next CPI drop, because it probably will be 0.3, 0.4% again, and then that will push us above 28,545. But now it looks like that could happen on its own. It is exciting, but of course it is something that we want to analyze very carefully and with quite a lot of scrutiny, because we don't want to get too excited over something that might not just come to pass. We're going to talk about today whether or not Bitcoin can get above one very specific level of resistance. That level would be $28,545. And when I say we are just dollars away, in the grand scheme of things, we really are. We're about $1,500 from that level. And if Bitcoin were able to break above that level, it enters a bull market zone. It enters the same bull market zone that we were in bull market for the last 2 years of bull market in 2020, 2021, and the very ending of 2022. I'm sorry, the very beginning of 2022. If we get above that level, then many things are confirming that we are going to go into something that I call the pre-halving phase of the bull market. I will talk about that more in tomorrow's video, because there's actually a video coming up on Saturday explaining my exact price target for the rest of this year, and I outlined how the movement that we're doing today, right now, is necessary to go into a bull market. It's really funny. I recorded the video yesterday saying what happens here, getting through 25,236 to 28,545 is absolutely critical for us to go into a bull market and hit the price target that I have outlined. And in that video, I said, look, it might take a month or two to get above that level. Right now, it looks like it might take a day or two. So that's pretty cool. That's exciting. Again, we're looking forward to that pre-halving bull market phase. So let's go ahead and read some chat, and we'll jump straight on into the stream. Looks like we've got a lot of people in chat today. Very excited for all of you guys to be here. Looks like Chris Moe was the first one. He said, party! Yes, indeed. This is a time to be very excited, not a time to FOMO. You can be excited. You can pop your champagne corks. You can, what are the little sparklers? You can blow your sparkler. You can have a little thing that you do this with and say, yay! Don't let it affect your trade. You still need to be perfectly logical in your trading. Mike Lowry in chat said, good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Why are Irish bankers so successful? Because their capital's always Dublin. There you go. Happy FinSoft Friday, everybody. Love to see it. That's a good one, Mike Lowry. That's a real good one. I'm going to take that. Crypto Mini Bike in chat said, good morning, everyone. We got Crypto Serg said, good morning, Jebb. Good morning to you, Serg. I'm sorry. I need to get a little, I have
sound effects buttons over here. I need to get a rap shot on there for my dad jokes. If you guys don't know, I'm a father of one, and here in the next month or so, I'm going to be a father of two. I'm already a father of two, but she's going to be coming into the world, so that's exciting. Thomas Post in chat said, morning fam. Good morning to you, Thomas Post, and thank you for being a member of the stream. As far as being a green name, you guys are very, it is very helpful when you guys are green names. Thank you so much for that. You guys help to make this all possible. Mike Lowry in chat, a green name and a blue name, keeping everything going. JoJo's in chat, Queen's in chat. Tyler on Gaming in chat, just shouting out a few people that I see here. Lazarus Hands, Hispanics KS in chat. Sorry, I'm going to censor your name just a little bit there because I want to make sure I'm being kind to everybody. We've got Good Morning Jebb from Lazarus Hands. Good to see you. Jay Powell going to pivot. We will see. I'm not sure. All right. Everyone, welcome Tyler on Gaming, straight from Crypto Lifer channel. Boom. Shout out to Crypto Lifer. I've done a collaboration with him before. He's got some pretty good TA. All right. Let's go ahead and jump onto CoinMarketCap. As you guys know, today is St. Paddy's Day, and isn't it convenient that the color of St. Patrick's Day is green? Bitcoin decided to wear green today. I completely forgot. I'm wearing orange. I had no idea it was St. Patrick's Day until you guys just told me in chat. So looks like Bitcoin's the one that showed up and showed out, and I was the one that should have showed out of the room because I'm wearing the wrong thing. Anyway, Bitcoin's at 26,586. That is a local high. That is in local high region. Of course, we were a little bit higher than that a few hours ago, but that is in local high region. We were up 7.3% over the last 24 hours. CoinMarketCap reset all of my percentage change graphs. Go to customize, rip out this one, add these two, and your CoinMarketCap will look like mine. If you're on CoinMarketCap, that's just the customize button right there. And then, of course, my eyes, goodness gracious. There we go. That's much better. You can turn dark mode on. Ethereum is up 5.29% over the last 24 hours. It is sitting at $1,739. That's a very, very, very important number. We'll talk about that on ETH a little bit later as well. Bitcoin is up 60% year to date. And as you can see, we have broken $500 billion market capitalization. If you'll remember, I told you yesterday that was a very important level of resistance. And I also drew this line right here that says $500 billion market cap. You can see we have broken through it very, very much recently. Now, going back to CoinMarketCap for a moment, we can see Binance is sitting a third of the way to 1,000. It's up 7.23% over the last 24 hours, up 37% year to date. XRP up 3.7%. Cardano up 4.25%. It is up to a third of a cent as well. Matic sitting just shy of $1.20. Dogecoin up 6%. It's sitting at 7.5 cents. BUSD has shrunk by about $100 million in market capitalization. Of course, it is continuing its shrinkage here, and it's been mostly trading sideways for the last day or two. But as you can see, we were sitting up here around 8.34 billion. Now we're sitting around at 8.25 billion. So it is the one cryptocurrency in the top 10 that's not seeing green that otherwise could be in the form of market capitalization. It is very possible then, based on this rally, that Solana could surpass BUSD relatively soon because Solana is sitting at $20. It is up 5.4% over the last 24 hours, and it will likely do very well in response to all of this movement that we're seeing happen on Bitcoin because it tends to be a very volatile cryptocurrency compared to the rest. Now, Bitcoin is up 33% in the last week. There is a famous quote by a man named Thomas Lee over at Fundstrat, and for the life of me, I've been wanting to interview this man for a very long time. So if any of you guys know Tom Lee from Fundstrat, I would love to have him on the channel. But one of the things that he talks about is that if you go back into, I think, almost every single year in the history of the Bitcoin market, you will find that if you take out the the top 10 biggest green days, every single year is negative. And of course, you couldn't do that because you'd be below zero. You'd be Brent crude oil on March 14th, 2020. There's a market reference for you. But that's kind of what we're seeing happen right now. If you take out a few of the green days that we've seen here in 2020, the vast majority of the time is in 2023, the vast majority of the time is actually bearish. It's these big candlesticks like these two right here, today's candlestick, this candlestick right here, these three, and this one. If you took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 10 biggest green candlesticks, we would probably be negative this year. And that's something I want us to keep in mind, is that if it ever feels like it's an overwhelming tone of bearishness, let me just check something real quick. Aha, my face cam is off. I'm sorry. That was from recording the video yesterday. I had a hunch. I had a spidey sense that I needed to fix that. There we go. If you ever have a feeling that, man, Bitcoin's just always going down, then just out of nowhere, boom, giant rally. That's kind of how Bitcoin works. And that's just something that you should make sure that you internalize, because that's not going anywhere for a very long time. Now, if you'll remember, 4 days ago on Monday, I drew, in fact, it was last Friday, I drew this broadening wedge. If you guys don't know what a broadening wedge is, that's okay. They're not that common. They don't happen very often because they indicate that just a ridiculous amount of volatility is coming into the ecosystem. So as I said, they don't happen very often. But if you do see a broadening wedge, oftentimes what they entail is that the market is seeing a huge amount of volatility coming into the space, which normally denotes a massive amount of volume and a massive amount of interest coming into the space. And that's what we're witnessing right now anyway, is that Bitcoin is undergoing that huge amount of bullishness that we've seen right here. We're seeing a huge amount of bullishness come into the space. We're seeing a huge amount of volume come into the space. And in fact, we've seen $140 billion worth of market capitalization enter Bitcoin very quickly. Don't believe me? Check this out. This is the total cryptocurrency market capitalization charts for all of crypto, not just Bitcoin. Look at this chart. We've added $250 billion to cryptocurrency in 7 days. This is something I want you to keep in mind. $250 billion, $250 billion has been added to cryptocurrency's market capitalization in a week. There is a lot to unpack about that statement. Why? Well, quite simply, when you add $250 billion in a week, what you're doing is you're repeating the exact same market movement that we saw in the beginning of January, where we added $200 billion in market capitalization. But in that case, to add $250 billion in market cap, we needed 3 weeks. This time we've done it in 1. There is a huge amount of bullishness right now. The question that I had yesterday was whether or not Bitcoin was going to be able to continue this rally of its own merit, whether or not that movement was going to be able to demand enough interest in the space that people would get excited about it enough that we would be able to actually do something with that rally. And I wasn't sure. And I'll tell you why I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure we were going to actually be able to do anything with that rally because Bitcoin had already rallied $200 billion. Crypto had already rallied $200 billion in market capitalization. Bitcoin had already rallied $5,000, $6,000. And that movement was entirely predicated on CPI. One of the things that we have to realize is that the vast majority of the movement on Bitcoin right now is simply a reflection of the traditional markets, of the macro markets. And whenever those macro markets are doing something, whether CPI is going down or the balance sheet's going down or the CPI or the stock market's going down or the Dixie's going up, Bitcoin typically is responding to those and is mainly responding to extra market forces right now. Today marks a little bit of a divergence from that. And so I'm going to pose to you 2 theories, 2 scenarios, and I would love your opinion on them. Here's the first one, and this is very simple. Bitcoin is doing this. It's doing the exact same thing that it did here about 4 to 5 days after the January 12th CPI data drop, where it rallied, plateaued, and then rallied again, and then it lost its strength and went through the correction. Either 1, Bitcoin is doing that, or 2, Bitcoin is actually managing to get some fundamental backing in it that is not just driven by CPI. Perhaps CPI helped us, but now Bitcoin is actually managing to rally of its own accord. And those are the 2 scenarios that I'd like to outline in today's live stream. I would also love your opinions on that in the stream chat. In fact, I will go ahead and give you a poll because I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that. Let me add a poll here. Why is Bitcoin rallying? Give me 1 second, I'll write this. It's rallying because of extra market. I really am curious what you guys are going to say. Forces only of its own accord. Let's see what you guys have to say on that. I am very curious what you guys are going to say. All right. So, again, those are kind of our 2 scenarios here. Let's break them down one at a time. The first scenario is that Bitcoin is rallying only due to extra market forces. Let's look at some of those extra market forces. One of the first things that you're going to have to look at when you look at the extra market forces is you're going to have to look at the extra markets. You're going to have to look at things like the SPY and the Dixie. What's going on right now? Well, interestingly, the SPY and the Dixie are actually correlated. That doesn't happen very often. Normally, as you can see in history, they're going the exact opposite direction of each other. It's almost like one's positive and one's negative. If you look on these markets over the last little while, the Dixie here, which I'll just go ahead and show you that first, the Dixie is actually having a correction. That's the thing that's really driving Bitcoin's bullishness right now, because the Dixie is moving down. It's actually broken below 104.265, which is a huge level of support for it. And it's actually headed to the downside. And it's not just heading to the downside in what looks like a big bear flag anymore. Now it's actually heading to the downside in what looks like a big falling wedge, which is a bullish formation, which could lead Dixie on a massive tear here, right all the way up to 108. So just keep that in mind. Dixie is not exactly looking like it's bearish for a long term, but right now it is. But then the stock market is bouncing somewhat. The stock market is bouncing a little bit. And as you can see, the Dixie is having a small kind of general corrective trend. Those are the things that are helping Bitcoin, along with, of course, that CPI drop where we saw, we'll just go to bls.gov/CPI for a second. That is not the right one, not COI, CPI. This connection is not private. I know. What in the world? Go back. Why is it not letting me go to BLS? Wow. It's not going to let me go to BLS. bls.gov/CPI. Here we go. You can see the CPI data dropped from 0.4% down to 6.0% from 6.4% last month. That data dropped. I will show you exactly where. It dropped right about, not about, I'll show you the exact level. It dropped right back here. In fact, I already have it on the chart, I think. Dropped right there. So we saw CPI data come in Tuesday, March 14th, day before the Ides of March, and we saw it drop by 0.4%, and that has led Bitcoin into this major rally. You can see another thing that's happening here. Bitcoin is building a cup and handle formation. That's a technical thing. That's pretty important. We'll come back to that. But for right now, those extra market forces are in play. You're seeing the fact that the CPI has dropped. You're seeing the fact that Bitcoin has added $250 billion in market capitalization, a lot of that coming from outside of the market. You're seeing people get a little bit disenfranchised with banking. How about Silvergate? How about SVB? They're starting to wonder, is a banking crisis going on? This is not a 2008 style banking crisis. I don't have time to get into it today, but it is something that brings discouragement to people that have money in banks, which is pretty much every single American in the entire country. So they're looking for other things to hedge their bets against the banking system, which we traditionally regard as perfectly safe, but isn't necessarily there. We've also seen Dixie going down. We've seen stocks going up gradually. So Bitcoin's market right now is largely a reflection of what we're seeing in the traditional markets. Exact same as we saw in January. If you look in January, you will see that the SPY was on a major rally. That's wonderful. You look at the Dixie was in a major correction. We also saw a 0.6% drop on CPI, and then boom, Bitcoin rallied $250 billion, added $250 billion in 21 days. This time it's added it in 7. So what's different? Well, this last 24 hours worth of price action really encourages me, because Bitcoin managed to do two things. Number one, it actually managed to rally above the high that we set an hour after CPI data dropped. So that means that Bitcoin is continuing to move to the upside. Number two, Bitcoin at this point in time, because of the rally that we've seen just over the last 12 hours, is actually trading in our fateful zone. Might be kind of hard to see that zone on this chart. We'll go to this chart. This is a chart that you guys will see more of on the Saturday video, which will come out in approximately 23 hours and 28 minutes, so stay tuned for that. But this zone right here, between $25,236 and $28,545, is a critical zone. And I'll just kind of show you a little bit on this chart. To get above this zone means you exit accumulation, you move into bull market. We have not been trading in this zone. In fact, this zone has been pretty much off limits for Bitcoin for all of its history. If you look at VRVP, we have virtually no trading in this region. This is a giant just valley. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Hopefully Bitcoin feels comforted right now because it is in the valley. Right? It's going to have a table prepared before its enemies. Anyway, Bitcoin is trying to rally into this transitionary zone right here. And if Bitcoin is able to break through that transitionary zone, guess what happens? You enter bull market territory. I'm not going to show you too much of that chart because I would be spoiling tomorrow's video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. There's quite a lot to go over there. There's also this chart right here. We've got some fun charts to go over in tomorrow's video. Make sure to hit your notification bell so you'll be updated for that. The point is, going into that transitionary zone is huge news. Huge, huge news. Here, I'll draw it on this level as well. The thing that may be taking place right here is that Bitcoin very well actually may be going through a point in time where it is trying to break out of the accumulation phase and is trying to break into that bull market territory that happens right before the accumulation, right before the halving. I call that the pre-halving phase of the bull market. We've seen 3 of them in the history of Bitcoin. This is the 4th that we're going to be going into sometime between tomorrow and the next 6 months. Bitcoin could either break through this transitionary zone now, or it could break through it in November. But I do believe it will happen at some point because I think there's enough bullishness and enough hype coming up for the halving event and enough traditional and institutional investors that realize what's going on, that they are going to get prepared for that. What's happening now is Bitcoin has just declared war on the accumulation phase. This accumulation phase we've been in for the better part of the last year, this was a declaration of war. We edged right up to the border. We've deployed troops on the border over the last month and a half, right here at 25,236. We've even poked our head above it just a couple days ago. But we had not actually launched a full-on assault of it yet. And then this morning, last night at 2100 hours happened. And we broke above 25,236. And history changed for Bitcoin. I don't mean to make this too cinematic or too exciting, but it is. It is exciting. Bitcoin breaking above 25,236 is one of the biggest shows of strength that Bitcoin could possibly have gone through. And you'll notice it broke straight through a valley in its own accord here on the hourly chart. There's a little valley right here. Bitcoin broke straight through it. And when it did, with confidence, and moved through it very quickly because there wasn't much resistance. And that's what could end up happening relatively soon, is Bitcoin could break through this zone, this transitionary zone between 25,236 and 28,545 very quickly. If it breaks through that very rapidly, as in it could do it in just the next couple of days, if there actually is enough bullish momentum, which if there's enough bullish momentum to set a new higher high above this high post CPI data drop, then maybe, just maybe, we do have the possibility of getting up there. If not, then next month after that CPI data comes in, then we may have the strength to do it at that point. But right now, Bitcoin is attempting to break through that transitionary zone, and I can't give you a prediction whether or not it will actually manage to do it because we've really just got to wait and see. We are in uncharted territory. This is unprecedented territory that Bitcoin finds itself in, and how Bitcoin acts here will dictate what the rest of this year looks like. This is a very important week coming up. The next week, Monday, March the 20th. That week is a very important week to watch Bitcoin because it is a week that will go down in history as a defining week for how this year will go and how the next bull market will begin, because this could be the very beginning of the bull market. So what does this have to do with the macro forces? Macro forces are a big part of what's driving Bitcoin above 28,545. But as we've talked about in previous videos, one of the things that Bitcoin needs to be able to do is that Bitcoin needs to be able to rally of its own accord. It needs to be able to rally on its own merit. It doesn't need to just rest on its laurels and rally just because CPI dropped. It needs to be able to rally independent of that. It's well and fine and good and dandy if we have CPI drop and that boosts Bitcoin. But Bitcoin needs to be in a bull market on its own. It doesn't need to be in a bull market just because Jerome Powell's Fed said so. It doesn't need to be in a bull market just because the United States inflation data says so. It needs to be in a bull market because Bitcoin's market and industry is growing and the attention in the space is growing and it's undergoing its own growth. That's what we need to see happening in Bitcoin, and that's why 28,545 is so important. So the question I pose, is Bitcoin rallying of its own merit right now, or is it rallying of extra market forces? One of the reasons that I find that to be a very interesting question is because if Bitcoin actually is rallying at this point of its own accord, of interest in the space coming from internally, or this being auto-generated, not just because of Bitcoin being a reflection of CPI or the effective federal funds rate or the balance sheet or the stock market or the Dixie or the war in Ukraine or demographical changes around the world or what have you. That's exciting because I was not expecting, and many people were not expecting too much of that anyway, to kick in until 28,545, which means Bitcoin's jumping the gun, which means Bitcoin could be more bullish in the next 6 months than we thought. Let me say that again. If Bitcoin at this point in time is finding the strength within itself to be able to rally through this transitionary zone, even without the backing of something like CPI, even without the backing of something like stocks, even without the backing of something like the balance sheet or the effective federal funds rate or the CPI again or the war in Ukraine or what have you, then that actually means that Bitcoin is more bullish than we have given it credit for, and that is just now starting to show itself. It's not something that was shown in the charts recently. It's not something that we've seen a whole lot of data for, except in mid-January that I'll show you in a second. But it is something that, as of today, seems to be showing up. What do I mean? Well, every single rally here on Bitcoin's chart over the last 3 to 4 months could be attributed to the CPI data, except for this one. We'd already had a rally post CPI. This was hype that was generated in the space. These 2 weeks right here between, we'll call it Monday, January 23rd and Monday, February 6th. Those 2 weeks in there, that was when Bitcoin really had its own hype. That's when people were really interested in Bitcoin. Before that, it was FTX and everybody was interested in Bitcoin for the exact wrong reasons. This is the third time in 6 months that we have seen people starting to increase their interest in the cryptocurrency space of their own accord. And again, that just started at 9 p.m. yesterday. That was not taking place yesterday. That was not taking place before that yesterday because all of this rally was simply a reflection of the CPI data coming in. This rally right here seems, anyway, to be driven by people inside of the cryptocurrency space that are excited about the prospect of breaking 25,236, that are excited about the prospect of rallying up into pre-bear market, into bull market highs that we saw back at last year of $30, $40, $50, $60,000, the year before of $30, $40, $50, $60,000. People seem to be getting excited about Bitcoin of its own merit. Now, Bitcoin has undergone a pretty large rally here. It is probably going to go through a correction. I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin come back down to 25,236. But the question then becomes, do we hold it? Because if we fall back down and we hold 25,236 and we bounce to the upside, ooh-wee, that's exciting. That is very exciting. Disregard for a second the fact that we'd be entering into a rising wedge right here with an uptrend right there and a uptrend right here, and that could give us a bearish price target if we were to just paint the bearish price target down here of, I don't know, maybe $25,000, if not even lower. Disregard that for a moment because that is very possible. Bitcoin could have a bounce here and go through a rally and try and break its way all the way up to 28,545. One of the things that's very exciting about markets is that there is there almost seems to be an abiding to the laws of physics in cryptocurrency markets. Whenever you get close to a large object in space, it is going to have a gravitational pull. Believe it or not, you have a gravitational pull. Believe it or not, my wallet has a gravitational pull. Believe it or not, the camera that I'm shooting this on, a Canon EOS R, has a gravitational pull. It's just so small that that gravitational pull is tiny and it doesn't do anything. Now, if you add up the entire mass of the planet Earth, it has a huge gravitational pull. That's why you don't float away. That's why if you pick your hand up and you go limp, then it falls, right? It's gravity. The larger an object is in the cryptocurrency space, the more gravity it has as well. If it's a very small, very, very, very tiny trend line, it doesn't have much gravity at all. But when you're talking about the big dogs, the really, really, really powerful levels, they do have gravity. What do I mean? 28,545 has a gravitational pull the size of Jupiter. Why? Because it is the bottom that we saw here on the 22nd of June, 2021, that indicated the reversal where Bitcoin would add, oh, I don't know, $40,000 in value and roughly $1.5 trillion. That was the pivot point. It was also the point in which Bitcoin capitulated. All of this was a correction. When we broke below 28,545, this was a correction. Below 28,545 was capitulation. Below 28,545 is where the accumulation phase begins. You're entering into the Marianas Trench of Bitcoin's chart after you go below 28,545, and you're entering the stratosphere after you break above it. It is hands down the most important level to Bitcoin right now, seconded by 25,236, as was set on this local high here, reconfirmed here. We've been talking about it since like here in January, and then it tested as resistance again in just the last few days and broken through last night at 900 hours Eastern Standard Time. 2100 hours Eastern Standard Time. Those two levels are critical, and Bitcoin's level of 28,545 has a gravitational pull to it, and I think that may be part of where the excitement is coming from, because as I said, we shouldn't really be expecting to see a lot of intra-market bullishness going on right now until we get above 28,545, because otherwise everybody's thinking we're in accumulation and the next price target is 17K. Getting above 28,545, next price target is 40. So people get excited after 28,545. That's our pivot point, if you will. Above that, people are excited. Below that, people are saying, "Oh, Bitcoin's in accumulation. I'll set some automatic buys every month, and I'll come back in 6 months." That's what they're saying below 28,545. That's what they're saying. Above 28,545, it's shotguns and rainbows, because people are very excited about the potentiality of a massive bull market. And getting close to 28,545 indicates to people that maybe, just maybe, that's possible. And the optimists out there, not the cynics. The cynics are saying, I'll just wait until we get to 32 and I'll see for confirmation. The optimists out there are saying, we're close. We're close. We've never been this close. We haven't been this close in a year. Wow, good news. Great. The last time we were breaking through this level bullish was 2.5 years ago. Christmas of 2020. Yeah, this is the Christmas present we got for 2020. Bitcoin was breaking through the transitionary zone, which was not established back then, but now is. Now Bitcoin's doing the exact same thing. So, again, to the question that's kind of driving this stream. One, Bitcoin is just a few dollars, about $1,000, $2,000 away from bull market. But two, Bitcoin, is it being driven of its own accord, or is it being driven only by extra market forces? It's kind of a bad question because it's both. Yes, Bitcoin is being driven by extra market forces. The question really comes down to, is it also being driven by internal market, by the market itself? Is it being driven by auto-generated hype about the market and its prospects? That question is starting to seem like yes. And that's exciting. It is starting to seem like yes, that there's some enthusiasm in the space that's coming from the space itself. And by the way, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to go to 28,545 tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's going to go there next week or even this month. But it is something that we need to keep in our back pocket and remember that the interest in crypto, even if only for a day, even if today we drop another $1,000, because $1,000 below here is exactly 25,236. That'd be $1,001 below us. We're at 26,237 right now. Even if we drop another $1,000, and even if we fall below that flat level at 25,236, and we fall out of the transitionary zone and we fail, even if that happens, Bitcoin has proven something in this rally right here. And it has proven that Bitcoin still has it. It is proven to the naysayers, in my opinion, and you can use this as proof to the naysayers, that Bitcoin still has the spunk that it needs to start its own rallies. Because that rally, I don't believe, was driven by CPI. I believe that rally was driven by hope. And that's not something I can say about any other rally other than the one we saw in January. And that rally that we saw in January, I'm talking about this specific one right here. This rally that broke us above $21,530, this was driven by hope. And it ended up moving the market $3,700 to the upside, 20% in 2 weeks. We've not seen a rally like that ever since. We've seen rallies that happened as a result of CPI news, or we've seen corrective movements such as this that were just bucking the trend for a moment. This rally set a new local high that we have not seen in a year. That is exciting. That is very exciting, actually. So, is Bitcoin rallying of its own accord, or is Bitcoin rallying purely because of extra market forces? I would actually throw my hat in with Bitcoin at this point, as of the last 16 hours, is rallying of its own accord. And that, again, might not last long. That very well may only last another few days. It might only last another few hours. But it's reminded us of something, and it's reminded us that sparkle in Bitcoin's eyes, when it goes into a big rally, when it goes into a big bull market, is not dead. It's sleeping, and it can come back in a moment. This is a hopeful time. This is a hopeful moment in Bitcoin that has managed to do this, because it's given us that hope that Bitcoin will have another bull market, and will have a very strong one. So that's kind of the philosophy, I suppose, if you will, and the technical analysis and the fundamental analysis of Bitcoin. But let's look at the actual technicals now. Let's analyze the rally from a technical standpoint. What's going on here? First and foremost, we saw MACD cross bullish on the 13th of March, the day before we saw the CPI data drop. That was very bullish. We are seeing a bullish MACD divergence. The MACD line and the signal line are actually getting further apart. MACD line is the slower line. Signal line is the faster line. You can see the faster line is jumping up here up to about 366 right now. They are diverging bullish. Wonderful. Fine and dandy. Great. RSI is sitting at 68. One thing I will warn you about is that we're either going to see some huge bearish RSI divergence forming, or Bitcoin's about to go to $32,000. What do I mean? This uptrend and this downtrend right here are bad news bears. This is a huge bearish RSI divergence forming on the daily chart. I would not put too much stock in it, because it's actually overlapping this high. I would more than likely want to go for these two highs right here, and these are equivalent highs, and Bitcoin's actually probably going to set higher RSI in the next couple of days than it did here on February the 15th. So I'm not too worried about that, but just keep in mind that there is potentially bearish RSI divergence, and there certainly was back here. If you'll recall, we had bearish RSI divergence forming here. We had a downtrend on RSI daily chart, uptrend on RSI daily chart on price. We dropped $5,400 as a result of it. So just keep that in mind. That is something you want to be careful for. Now, let's take a look at a couple of other technical indicators. I want to look at TD sequential. TD sequential sitting at 6 right now. We had a green 9 flash down here at the bottom indicating reversal. That was wonderful. We love to see it. We're sitting at 6 right now. That's something you want to watch out for. We're getting kind of close to the top there. We probably will see a pretty large correction in the next 2 to 3 days. It could happen today as a result of Bitcoin falling out of its high of $27,000. Nevertheless, Bitcoin did set new highs, and that's something to be celebrated. This is an interesting one. Bollinger Bands. A week ago, we were falling on the bearish side of the Bollinger Bands. Today, we are exceeding the upper band of the Bollinger Bands, and we shot straight through them in the span of just a couple of days. We managed to rally $7,500 in the span of a week. That was very, very exciting news that we were able to do that. Moving forward here, looking at Lux Algo price action concepts. If you guys don't know, I have a video on Lux Algo price action concepts. They're awesome. You can see the equilibrium here for Bitcoin's market on the daily chart has been this level right here, around 21.2 to 21.5. That has been the level that we've been bouncing around. We're about to go into the premium zone, which means that if we do break up and through the premium zone, then that is going to reestablish our equilibrium. And if our equilibrium establishes here in the transitionary zone and our discount establishes down here, then that means that the market has reestablished its center, if you will, up here around $25,000 to $28,000, whereas the center right now is roughly around 21.5 to 22.8. That means that Bitcoin has made a lot of progress, to put it bluntly. If Bitcoin does reestablish the equilibrium up here, pay close attention to Lux Algo price action concepts, and you will have some kind of signal for that. The cool thing about Lux Algo price action concepts is if you go over here, you can actually find community scripts, Lux Algo. You can find Lux Algo price action concepts right here. So make sure you go ahead and get Lux Algo if you don't already have it, and then you can get access to price action concepts right there. Lux Algo does have a few free indicators as well, so make sure to check those out. All right, let's look at the rest of Lux Algo too, because there's quite a bit more to go over here. You look at Lux Algo proper here, Lux Algo's original premium indicator. The buy signal has come into play on March 13th. March 13th. We saw the trend catcher turn green on the 12th. We fell initially out of the EQ cloud. Now we're breaking bullish above it again. And we're so high now that the EQ cloud looks like it's starting to diverge bullish as well. Looks like a little bit like a duck bill or something here. But if we do see that start to diverge bullish, that would be wonderful. I need to change my candlestick coloring, but we would definitely be in green territory and strong buy signal at this point for Bitcoin here. Now, the next thing I want to show you is down on the 4-hourly chart. If we take all of our technical indicators down to the 4-hourly chart and we look at Lux Algo again, we're going to see something very exciting, and that is that we've been under a buy signal here since March the 10th, and it has been phenomenal. If you guys do not have Lux Algo, take one look at this signal, take one look at how it called a $7,000 rally in 7 days, $1,000 a day, not bad, and tell me one reason why you shouldn't get Lux Algo. Because it is calling all of these trends. This sell signal back over here, you can disregard all of these because they're not confirmed. This sell signal over here came into play, got confirmed right here, and then from that point in time, Bitcoin dropped 15% over the span of 13 days. If you look at this buy signal that preceded it right here, again, you can weed out these two signals because they were not confirmed. It's a very simple strategy that I have here. You can see buy signal came in, trend catcher turned green, boom, we rallied $3,000 in a day and a half. You look at the last signal, this sell signal, these are not confirmed, so you can weed them out. Sell signal came into play, trend catcher's right there. We saw the market drop $1,600 in 7 days. That's wonderful. The fact of the matter is, Lux Algo is giving almost perfect signals. Now, it's not perfect signals because it's not God, it's not omniscient. It can't tell you exactly what's going to happen 100% of the time, but what it can tell you is that it has a very, very, very high win rate of telling you what the market's going to do next. Now, what I do also want to look at is the hourly chart, because it is possible, based on the fact that we have a bearish engulfing candlestick formation showing up here on the hourly chart, that soon we could be seeing a sell signal. Now, we saw the buy signal on the hourly chart come into play right here. We saw it get confirmed. The candlestick before we went into this big rally, and we rallied $2,000 in the span of 10 hours. Lux Algo called all of that. Make sure to get Lux Algo if you don't have it already. We broke all the way through the reversal zone, touched the outside of it, went to the other side of it. We hit space is what we did. We touched space, and now we're coming back down to earth. If we fall out of the reversal zone right here, then you'll probably see a lot of sideways action. It'll probably look something like that. You'll probably see something very similar that happened here. You have a rally, then you fall out, and then you end up going sideways for a while and then reestablishing support, and then you go higher. What I want to see Bitcoin do right now is that, yes, it probably will fall out of the reversal zone soon, even as a result of what we see here being three black crows. If you're in Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, we have a video on 3 white soldiers, 3 black crows. These 3 candlesticks right here are bearish. It means they make the market go down. That is not a good sign for the hourly chart for Bitcoin. It does mean the hourly chart will probably see some bearishness. But we have a lot of reason to believe that Bitcoin could hold above 25,236 with all of the enthusiasm in the space right now. So don't get discouraged. From there, if Bitcoin is able to stay above the EQ cloud, which is currently its top is sitting at 25,150, that's this thing right here. That's called the EQ cloud. If we're able to stay above that, then Bitcoin could bounce, rally, and head right back up to this resistance level. Do keep in mind, though, and this is something to keep in mind over the weekend because this will take a few days to play out. If Bitcoin does bounce at 21.5 and rally, we are entering one giant ascending wedge, and ascending wedges have a 70% chance of breaking to the downside. Wedges have a 70% chance of breaking in the opposite direction that they're pointing, is the way you define the prediction of a wedge. So you see a wedge pointing to the upside, 70% chance you break to the opposite direction it's pointing, you're going to break to the downside. It is possible that Bitcoin does this. And I'll even leave this drawing on this chart because something like this I have seen happen so many times where Bitcoin has to go to the upside, correct, then go to the upside again, and then it like forms an inverse head and shoulders pattern or a cup and handle formation or something nuts, and then it continues moving to the upside. On the topic of cup and handle formation, looking down here on the hourly chart, there actually is a cup and handle formation forming, and that could be what we're seeing happen relatively soon. If we look for our cup and handle formation, we can set our rim line, I believe is what it would be called, right here. This is another pattern that we talk about in Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. Make sure to check it out. That's our rim line. If we fell back down to 21.5, then we would form our cup. Then you simply draw like this. Let's turn Lux Algo off. I'm going to leave that original drawing on because it is kind of a prediction. Then what you do is you take your line here from the rim line all the way down to the base of the cup. Then you extrapolate after it would go through the actual breakout here, and that would push us up to $29,500. So there is a bullish pattern there too. That is definitely on the more bullish end of things because if Bitcoin does manage to do that, then that means it would break out of the top of this rising wedge, and that would actually make some sense because Bitcoin would then be going through with this idea that, wow, it's super bullish and 28,545 has a stupid amount of gravity and it's just going to suck Bitcoin right into it. What's the gist? In short, Bitcoin on the hourly chart looks very, very bullish in general. On the short-term time frames, you're likely to see a correction moving through the next 3 to 4 hours. If you don't, then that means the bulls are very powerful. If you do, you will probably see a correction of nearly $1,000, and you will see the market moving to the downside slightly. Nothing to worry about. This is not a trend reversal that I'm concerned about. The trend right now is overall bullish, and that's exciting, but we shall see what happens there. One thing that would be a little bit concerning to me on the 4-hourly chart is that we did cross bearish before this rally. We've been bearish the majority of this rally. And now, with Bitcoin having a correction, we could see a bearish cross come back into play, indicating a general downtrend in MACD. And also, we have an uptrend on the price action here, but we did not manage to set an uptrend on the RSI, indicating that there is a downtrend on RSI, meaning that there is currently, unless Bitcoin forms a new higher high, which it probably won't in the next few hours, which means that this will likely be confirmed, that there will be bearish RSI divergence on the 4-hourly chart. Moving into the next 24 hours, expect some bearishness. Moving into the next 3 to 5 days, there is a great hope of bullishness. So, the title, Bitcoin is just a few dollars away from a bull market. It's about $2,000 from hitting into a bull market, and maybe that's not a few, but in the grand scheme of things, that's a few. It's very close. If we break above 28,545, I'm not saying we're in a bull market instantly because you do still need to see confirmation. I'd like to see Bitcoin like hit 32 and come back and back test 28,545, have some crosses, have a few different things take place. But a lot of the confirmations that a bull market is coming have already happened. I am resoundingly confident that unless there is some kind of extra market black swan, like China declares war on Taiwan, that would do it, then Bitcoin will be in what I call the pre-halving phase of the bull market within the next 3 to 6 months. If you want to learn more about what the pre-halving phase of the bull market is and why it means that Bitcoin could be sitting at $42,000 in the next 3 to 6 months, then you need to hit your notification bell because there's a video coming out on why I believe that Bitcoin could be hitting upwards of $50,000 before the year's over. And you're going to learn how a simple clock could double Bitcoin's price action. Make sure to stay tuned because that video will be hitting the channel at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and I'm very, very excited about it. I think it's one of the best videos we made on the channel in a very, very long time. So those are some of my takes on Bitcoin right now. I'd love to hear your opinions. One of your opinions is not surprising. Why is Bitcoin rallying? 60% of 318 votes say extra market forces only. Keyword there, only. Bitcoin is always rallying or crashing because of extra market forces, but 61% of you guys say that Bitcoin is rallying only because of extra market forces. 39% of you say of its own accord. I would tend to agree that for the most part, up until yesterday, it was rallying because of extra market forces only. As of today, it's shown us a glimmer of hope that it is actually rallying on its own. And that's exciting because right now Bitcoin's being weaned. It's being weaned off of Mama Fed's milk. That's what's happening. It's starting to eat on its own. It's being weaned. And if Bitcoin can get high enough, then it will be fully weaned. Somebody is going to take that completely out of context. If it can get high enough in price, it will be fully weaned. All right, let's read some chat. We got a couple of super chats. Thank you, guys. JJ777 Marsh said, hello, can you explain how next year's halving event works? And do we hold our Bitcoin investments at that time? I'm new to Bitcoin. In short, the halving event is remarkably bullish for Bitcoin. And JJ, I don't have time to fully explain that because it would take a full video to do. But luckily for you, yesterday I made a video explaining basically that exact question. So stay tuned for that video. That video will come out tomorrow, and I think that will answer your question in quite a lot of detail. In short, don't be scared of the halving. Every single time that's ever happened has been remarkably bullish for Bitcoin. Thank you so much for the donation. Tyler on Gaming said, Jebb is amazing and smart. You should subscribe. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You guys are amazing and smart also, because technical analysis is something that I think anybody can do, but a lot of times the more, intellectual folks are the ones drawn to it. I'm not, like I said, anybody can do technical analysis. I think there's a misconception out here that you have to be like, you have to have like 200 IQ to do technical analysis. You don't. It's actually very simple. It's just, it makes people think of math, and people are like, I'm not smart, I can't do math, but you can. You've just been taught by the public school system to hate it. You can do technical analysis. Don't be worried about it. You've got it. Guys, by the way, I want you to do something for me. I want you to hit the like button. Let's see if we can't get up to 400 likes before the stream ends. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. We're going to go for another 10 minutes or so reading chat. April 14th, 2024 halving starts. That is correct. That is the current prediction, is April 14th, 2024. Mixed Shot said, we will hit the like button because Crypto Jebb rocks. Thank you. I appreciate that. I used to have some petrified rocks from the petrified forest. If you guys don't know, there's a forest out in, where is it, New Mexico, Arizona? My wife would probably know that. Sarah, do you remember where the petrified forest is? No? Okay. Well, there's a petrified forest out west. I've never been there. My grandmother went there and sent me some rocks one time. And I had these really, really cool rocks. And they were petrified wood. Awesome. So I'm not a rock, but I suppose I have had rocks before. So if that means I rock, then thank you. I'm sorry. See, I entertain myself by, these are the conversations I have in my own head, and about 10% of you probably thought that was funny. Estonian Reefer said, all will come crashing down. Fed will shock markets with 50. JP Morgan created market turbulence for profit, so calm down. Far from bull market. Enjoy soon buying heavy discount. Perhaps. Do you also use Lux Algo Oscillator Premium on buy-sell signals for a second confirmation with a trend tracer? I typically use trend catcher, not trend tracer, although trend tracer is very good as well. That is my full strategy, is to use all three and to use trend catcher and Lux Oscillator as confirmations of the buy or sell signal, or at least just having all three. So if you have two and then the buy signal comes in, then that's the confirmation. But I find myself not using it as much for confirmation because oftentimes just the buy signal and the trend catcher are strong enough confirmations. It is a very powerful technical indicator, and I probably should use it a little bit more. Welcome back. Why the decision to return to YouTube? Well, the interesting thing is, I knew that you guys were, there is a vision that this channel has had to help bring you guys financial sovereignty while also sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I did not believe that that vision was being carried out. In fact, I was straightly told that the vision that I was told would be carried out was now changed. And so that was something that I couldn't tolerate. This is a channel that I created. This is a channel that I own. And this is a channel that I'm responsible for. So if the vision of this channel, which is, I believe, is the direction that I've been given, is not being carried out, then I have a responsibility before God to make sure that the vision of this channel is being carried out properly, the exact way that it is supposed to be, and that burden rests solely on my shoulders. And that was not happening. It wasn't. There was a different vision in play. Not saying it was a good or bad vision, but it was not the vision that I was told this channel would run under, and so that had to change because I have a certain responsibility, and so I had to make sure that it was right. And of course, that's kind of the integrity side of things. But of course, I love YouTube, and it was never my desire to be away from Bitcoin in the first place. or away from the channel in the first place. There was a lot going on behind the scenes. You guys don't know most of it, and it's probably for the best so you guys don't know most of it, but there was some there was a little bit of nonsense. There was some shenanigans going on behind the scenes that very much should not have been taking place. Leon the Dutch said, bless you, Crypto Jebb. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Received. Jesus is in everything. That's right. He created everything. All right, let's see. A couple more bailouts on bank and Bitcoin will rise up to 40K levels. Yeah, maybe. People are definitely scared of the banks right now. Let's see. If Bitcoin gets high enough, can it get sentient like ChatGPT? Bitcoin's price is not going to change the way that its code works, so no, it's not going to become like ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is not sentient because it doesn't have a soul. But it is very, very smart. Has anybody played with that? Like, you can ask it. Like, I asked it. I forgot what question. I asked a bunch of questions. I don't even remember what I asked it, though. But it's got some very interesting answers, and it is giving Google a run for its money. People at Google are scared right now. People at Google are very scared right now because why would you ask Google and Google just gives you a bunch of web pages when you can ask ChatGPT and it just gives you the whole thing? It's very interesting technology. But I don't think it's going to become sentient and take over the world. That's what I asked. I asked it if it was sentient. That's what it was. Ha! And it said no. It said, no, I'm not sentient. I'm just a computer program. You know, it's trying to cover for itself is what it's doing. All right. St. Patrick's color was actually blue. What? Have we been lied to this whole time? Goodness. Let's see. Let's see here. Read a little bit more chat. You were the first Bitcoin buyer? I was not. I was definitely not. I don't know if you were talking to me, but I definitely wasn't. I was an early one, though. I got in the space in 2017. Let's see. That's so crazy to say. 2017 was 6 years ago now. Relaxation Music Certified said, hey, Jebb, what's up? The most pain is straight up, no pullbacks. Yes, that is the most pain because you're sitting there like, do I get in? Do I not? Do I get in? Do I not? It's like you really just want to go swimming, but you see a shark in the water, and so you're not sure what to do. That's kind of what people are doing in Bitcoin right now. They're like, oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. All right. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. 40K this month. That's a big one. It's a big prediction. Definitely possible. It hit 27K even though my sell order didn't fill, but I'm happy I still tapped it. There you go. That's $30 billion of our money going to a freshly bankrupt bank as it continues to tank 20% a day. Yeah, isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Goodness gracious. Most of the trading these days are bots. You'd be surprised how much of the market is moving as a result of money managers. Fed printed $300 billion in monopoly money. They printed more like $5 trillion in monopoly money. Except that monopoly money is actually redeemable in treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. It will be interesting looking back on this. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's the beginning of true adoption. It's written in the first block. Bitcoin was made for this. That's right. That's right. Bitcoin was made for such a time as this. Jebb, what do you think about the 16-year market cycle theory? It dictates that if we hit all-time high this year, we're in for a multi-year bear market. I'm not terribly familiar with that theory. What I will say is that this is going to be a difficult decade geopolitically and from a macro stance. So I could see Bitcoin's next bear market being a little bit bigger. Let's see. Sir Mugiwara said, morning, Jebb. Good morning to you. Silas E. Borg is in chat, said, morning, fam. Jebb, will we fill that CME gap at 20,500? I hope not, but possible. Let's see. Glad to have you back. Rodrigo Sultanum. Thank you. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. St. Patrick was Welsh. What? The official color of Ireland in heraldic terms is azure blue. The color's blue association with St. Patrick dates from the 1780s, and it was adopted as the color of the Anglo-Irish Order of Saint. Cool. Well, I guess I'm always wearing St. Patty's then because I have blue eyes. John Doe said Jebb is blessed. That's so true. That is so true. Ernest Stokes said, good job, brother. Thank you. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Well, guys, I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Zanoni Snowflake has a very important question. Know you have a lot going on, so how long should we wait for a reply to our email about CT2A? Don't want to add to your plate, but would like to have access to our course. Absolutely. Of course, Zanoni. So this is something I've said on chat before. We have a fix for that. Let's see. Let's go to Club DeFi. Here, I'll show you. Go to your webpage. Go to Club DeFi. I'm sorry, not clubdefi.com. Type Club DeFi into Google. Then come right down here. Go to the homepage. Scroll down. CT2A is right here. It was not here a while ago. So as far as the emails are concerned, we do need to get back to your email. I do apologize for that. But to answer your question here on stream so everybody can see it, just go to bitcoinacademy.teachable.com or just type Club DeFi into YouTube. It'll show into Google. It'll show up. Come right down here, hit CT2A, and you will get access to all of your courses here. Now, don't hit enroll. What you need to do is you need to make sure you're logged in. Go to the top up here. It'll say log in, log in. Then on that webpage I was just showing you, hit right in here. And it will, let me see if I just go to preview a student. That's the public. If you're a student, hit that button and don't hit enroll again. It won't let you. Sorry, it looks like it's giving me a little bit of trouble here. Preview as student, because of course I'm the admin, so I'm on the website from the back end side of things. As student, click here, and then you can see that the course curriculum will show up. Now, it won't show up if you are not logged in, because, I mean, you can see preview as student or preview as everything. If I'm previewing this, now, again, I'm the admin of this because I own the thing, so it's got this bar up here. You won't see this. If I'm previewing this as public, which means that I'm not logged in and have access to CT2A, I click on this, and nothing will happen. It'll just come to the enroll page. You try and hit enroll for $8.99, it's going to say, I'm sorry, this course is closed for enrollment, so you just can't log in. But if you preview as a student, which means basically for your sake, what that would mean is that if you were logged in and I'm previewing as a student, hit CT2A, you'll get access to it right here. So there you go. For everybody who wanted to get access to CT2A, you have it right there. For everybody who wants to be able to join our courses, because we have over 5,000 people that went through CT2A, and I mean, CT2A has not been actively sold for 18 months, and people still want to go in and use it. That's how exciting and great of a product it is. If you want to get access to the next generation, which is Club DeFi, you should absolutely come right here. Go to Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, and you can get access to all of it by coming right here. This is what the student sees. This is the actual page where the student would go. You can see all of the different videos here where we talk about oscillators, we talk about candlestick formations, we talk about our trend lines, we talk about support and resistance, math psychology, one of my favorite concepts. We talk about convergence, divergence, market cycles, risk and reward, software that you're going to need. Everything that you need to get started in cryptocurrency, you're going to get here in Club DeFi, and you can get access to it right here for that low price of $3.99. You might think that's a lot of money. It's really not if you're going to get into cryptocurrency and you're going to be working in this space. When you learn technical analysis, that is going to compound itself over and over and over again. You know why $400 is not a lot of money for Club DeFi? Because everything that I put into Club DeFi that I had to learn the hard way took me about 3 to 4 years just to get the basics down because I was having to teach myself. I created Club DeFi so that I could give it to myself 6 years ago and save myself 4 years of studying the market 6 or 8 hours every single day, trying to understand the way that this market works, because technical analysis is actually very simple after you understand it. Before you understand it, when you're trying to get it around your head, it is so hard to get around your head. That's why CT2A existed, and that's why Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis does exist. So make sure to check it out by going to cryptojebb.com, scrolling down, hitting Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, and you can enroll today. If you are in CT2A, you've got a 25% off coupon code waiting for you. Simply shoot us an email, support@cryptojebb.com, and we will get that for you. And if you were a member of Club DeFi's beta, where we were testing out the subscriptionary model, you can get a coupon code equivalent to however much money you put into the beta. So people have gotten $100 off, $175 off, etc. So if you're in the beta, make sure to check us out, support@cryptojebb.com, shoot us an email, send us proof of purchase, and we'll generate you a coupon code, and we'll make sure you're able to get into Club DeFi. Cool, guys. It's very exciting what's going on over in Club DeFi. A lot of you guys are learning a whole lot in Club DeFi. Will we see ATH this year? I believe you'll see ATH in summer of next year. Let's see. Got in 2017 too, Sergio Sokite said. Good, good. That's really cool. Let's see. FoxP2 said price was $16.08 a coin. Das Who said, Jebb, I love your information, brother. Keep it real. Thank you. Love your name. That's pretty funny. OMG, that was funny. I'm a rock. Yeah, Crypto Serg was the only person in chat laughing at that. My son, who's 2.5, probably would have laughed at it, but Yeah, see, that's the cool thing about having a 2-year-old is that you don't actually have to be funny because they laugh at everything. They're just giggly. And so maybe I've been spoiled by that. Maybe I've been spoiled. Maybe you guys need a little bit more sophisticated humor than, oh, look, daddy's a rock now. All right, the banking problems are good for Bitcoin. That made Sarah laugh. Sarah's over there laughing. The banking problems are good for Bitcoin. Yes, they, for the most part, are. For the most part. Mike Lowry said, peace till next time. Peace, Mike Lowry. We're about to wrap it out, too. The first St. Patty's Day parade in the U.S. was in 1609. Wow. Man, that was back before the wheel was invented. They were just walking around with the floats on their back. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. Will we ATH this year? Like I said, I think we'll do that summer of next year. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it out for today's stream. If you enjoyed today's stream, I want you to do a few things for me. Number one, go sign up for Club DeFi. Do yourself a favor. Save yourself a few thousand hours trying to learn this on your own and get access to the academy that we have used to help teach so many people about cryptocurrency so that they can become successful in the cryptocurrency space themselves. Everything that I do in cryptocurrency, guys, there's nothing special about it. I just have invested in my education, and you guys can too. You can build a full-time job for yourself in cryptocurrency if you decide to invest in your education. It is a path less traveled by, but it is a path that has been very successful for a lot of people. And if you understand technical analysis, I think it could be very successful for you as well. Make sure to go to cryptojebb.com, scroll down, hit Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis today, and get started investing in your education so that you can survive and thrive here in the cryptocurrency space. Also, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo. Use coupon code Jebb, J-E-B-B, for 20% off at checkout. You will be so glad you did. Hit the subscribe button and post notification bell because tomorrow a video comes out explaining why one clock, yes, a clock, will double the price of Bitcoin within the next 12 months. If you want to see that video, make sure to stay tuned. It will be dropping at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, that being Saturday, March the 18th. That is going to have to wrap it out for today's video. Stay tuned for that Saturday video. I'm so excited for it. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, though, and subscribing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.